All right, welcome to those of you tuning into the replay. You missed all of our announcements and you missed all of our leaderboards because I recognize in 6 months from now, none of that's going to be relevant anyway. So I didn't hit record until it was time to bring up our guest. So let me do that. Mr. Derek Fitzgerald, you were there and then you were gone. Sid, are we fighting over it? Are you trying to do it while I'm trying to do it? That's probably what happened. All right,
Here I am.
here you are. What's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. Thanks for inviting me.
Dude, thanks for giving some time out of your evening to like come hang out with us.
Of course, of course.
So, those of you that don't know Derek, I met Derek, it's about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago. We met at the Baltimore boot camp,
Yep.
or like with the summer tour last year.
Yeah.
Um, and dude, so impressed with you. And I knew I needed to have you on this call. And you even gave me a host of topics. And I've since heard you on the national call, and I've heard your expertise as an SME. And we've got a lot of really good SMEs in this company. You're definitely among the top SMEs in this company. I think we've got you're on our roster of people we can pick and choose from. And if not, well, I'll make sure you are, because as people meet you, they're gonna want to reset to you. That's the idea here. But what really intrigued me about your story is the necessity for me in my own life to redefine hard based on the life you've lived. So I'm going to go ahead and just introduce you, read some stats here, and then we're just going to have a conversation. All right, so Derek Fitzgerald, agency owner, SME, top producer, been with Symmetry since 2021, #1 in resets in 2023, #1 in Infinite Banking Concept Debt Free Life in 2023, #2 in Infinite Banking Concept Debt Free Life in 2024, Impact Player Award 2024, best month. I need you guys to hear this. This is best month of personal production, 246,000 in premium. Best day of production, 112,000. Best year, 626 or 623, almost 624,000. World record as the first cancer surviving heart transplant recipient to finish a full distance Ironman triathlon, and he has completed 11 in total. All right, I want to go back. There's a couple of things I want to zoom in on. Can we talk about like this month, this month of 246,000? What was your take home on that?
Well, it was probably, I would say 70% maybe, and Aaron can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say about 70 of that percent of that was resets. So 60% from that 70, and the rest were us dialing, us networking, doing the rest of the thing. So call it, if it's 246, I don't know, call it, it's still issuing out. July, we still have some that are issuing out in August. It was a
Oh,
lot.
so this was recent.
This was June,
Oh, this was last month, was your
last month.
best month ever.
Yeah,
Oh, you're not even paid on some of that yet.
no.
Oh, this is a good payday for you're easily six figures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, easily. Put a two in the we haven't done two yet. Put a two in the comments if six figures in a single month blows your mind. Yeah, blows my mind too. That's crazy talk. All right, what I really wanted to zoom in on, Derek, was this last part, and this is what just blew my mind because you're not going to meet people like you. Um, World record as the first cancer surviving heart transplant recipient to finish a full distance Ironman triathlon. There are people with their own healthy hearts that haven't done one part of an Ironman. And here you are, like with a whole new heart, surviving cancer and doing that, man. So just huge impact your story left on me. So I want to start from the beginning, man. Like walk us through what brought you to Symmetry in the first place.
Sure.
What yeah, what where were you at in life? Why this?
So I had owned several tech companies back in the day. Um, Worked for Big Pharma. Um, I basically sold drugs. I went around, flew around the world interviewing top docs in oncology and basically talked to them about the state of oncology treatment. They talked about stumbling around in the dark, trying not to kill people. And then I found out that I had cancer. And then while I was recovering from cancer, my company shifted and expanded, and we started doing cardiology drugs. I was back at work, flying around, interviewing all these top cardiologists. Then I found out that the chemotherapy drugs that had saved me from cancer had destroyed my heart. And I found out that I was in end-stage heart failure. And so did that for about 7 years, from the time I was 30 to 38. And 31 to 38, I should say. And so I sold my company to my two partners. I said, peace out. Just give me as much money as possible because I'm just going to take this great big golden parachute and I'm going to spend all this money like there's no tomorrow. Because I had
I
this
mean,
great big,
for you realistically, you probably didn't think there was much of a tomorrow.
no, no,
Yeah.
I, I spent the last 2 years of my life before transplant. Um, they had to prop me up in bed in pillows because if I was laying down, my heart wasn't strong enough to pump the fluid out of my lungs. I would have drowned in my own bodily fluids. Um, and I would, by the last year, um, yeah, I was asleep for 23 hours a day. And the 1 hour a day that I was awake, I was coughing so hard that I thought my spine was going to snap into. I was so weak, so weak. And so I said, I don't need the work. I sold my business to my partners. I'm getting ready to die. Along the way, I died twice. They brought me back. I'm stubborn like that. And ultimately, uh, basically December 26th, 27th, 2010, they took me into the hospital. And I walked out of there. Well, I got my transplant on January 3rd, 2011. And then a week later, I was walking home and and just figuring out what life meant with somebody else's heart beating in my chest. Um, and that's really where I started with the whole exercise thing. That led to um, my first 5K run. What 8 months after my first half marathon, 10 months after. Then a couple months after that, I did my first Olympic distance triathlon. Anyway, at a certain point, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to do triathlons with the money that I had left over from, I mean, I had a good amount of money that I just blew through, and I needed to go get a job. So I started another tech company and met Aaron quickly after, realized that I had found an amazing woman and I needed to marry her. So we got married and and we started this tech company together. It was all about find helping people who had gone through significant health challenges become healthy again.
Mm.
And then we were doing really, really, really well with that. We were able to travel all around, help more people. And then COVID came along. Everything that we were doing was helping businesses that helped people face to face. And COVID wiped that out within a week. Within a week, we lost 90%, 95% of our income. And so all the crazy money that I had established back when I was working in tech, I had spent. There were no reserves. Um, I was, yeah, it was an eye-opening experience, and so I started doing anything I possibly could to make money. I was doing speaking gigs, which came along here and there. Um, I started driving Uber and Lyft. I started putting my name back out there, but I was a at that point, I was a 40-year-old CEO, former CEO, CTO. And all the other CEOs that I was talking to, I was interviewing with, were 38 to 40 years old. Nobody wanted to hire me. So driving Uber and Lyft, scraping together money so that we could pay for our rent. Um, and saw this ad for Symmetry in ZipRecruiter. And Aaron, who used to be a financial advisor, I said, this whole life insurance thing, is this like a legit thing or is this a scam?
Should I bring Erin up here? Can I spotlight Erin too?
Please.
Yeah, does she want to be part of this? She should be part of this. Where are you at, Erin?
She's
You're gonna
she's the
come
rock
hang out with
star.
us. You're gonna hang out with us too. All right. Good. It's good to see you, Erin. Hi.
Hi, how are you? I wasn't ready, so if my face turned red, that's
I
why.
know. I invited Derek, and then I'm last minute. I'm seeing you in the comments, and I'm like, you know what? She should be up here too. So let's bring both of them.
Thank you. I'm glad you're asking these questions. Everybody always asks about resets. It's nice to, hear why he thinks the way he does.
Gosh, I mean that's like you're never gonna have the opportunity it's learning to think like people think and taking someone, Derek, that's been through your challenges to like, how do you think about obstacles? How do you think about hard? How do you frame, like, I want to crawl inside of that because there's a lot of stuff in my life I call hard that you would look at and be like, come again. And so, yeah, I like finish your story, but I want to dive, Aaron, exactly into that. Like, how do you frame and think about obstacles that is going to be way different than anyone else here does?
Well, I mean, it's fair to say that my definition of a challenge has been recalibrated.
Mm-hmm.
I'm solution based. I have a mind for puzzles. I have a mind for fixing things that are broken. And so, um, yeah, everything that I've seen as a challenge in front of me, I just say, well, why not? Let's give this a shot. I I in my voice order, I am pioneer, 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 and pioneer. Um, and and ultimately, I'm not afraid to try something new and risk burning something down. I don't want to scare anybody, but we've reinvented ourselves like 18 times in the
Mhm.
last 4 days. I mean, let alone what it's been like for the past 4 years. So I'm not afraid to see something working and say, you know what, let's try something different. Because I do believe that previous, any level of previous success, if you get locked into that mindset, can be prohibitive of future growth. You can't hold on to, golden idols, right? You've got to be able to tear it all down, start again, and build something better and with what you learned from the last time you did it.
Mm. Yeah, so good. So you're in this position, you've spent all your money, you lost this company in front of you because COVID. You are
Mhm.
scrambling to just do anything to just get money coming in, driving Uber, driving Lyft, doing that stuff. And Symmetry came along.
Yeah, and like I said, I gave Symmetry a healthy dose of side eye, a
Okay.
Like
healthy
super
dose.
healthy dose.
What's that, babe?
You did. It was like a super healthy dose. You were like, I don't know. Sounds like an MLM. I'm not really sure.
I was going to ask, like, when you're looking at it, so I mean, you've founded companies, you've run companies, you've sold companies. When you were looking at this from the outside with that skeptical look, what were the reasons for skepticism? What were those things that kind of raised like a, I don't know about this. What were those items for you?
Well, Google searches. I
Okay.
was like, what am I getting myself into? And anytime you do any kind of Google research, I mean, Google MD, it's you're going to find the good and the bad, and you don't really know what's what.
Yeah.
And and I'd had a half decent uh, experience with life insurance prior to all of my life experiences, and then I had an exceptional experience with a life insurance agent who took care of me as I was getting more and more sick, and really went out of his way to protect me and my family. And I was like, if I could be half the agent that that guy was for me and my
Mm.
family, I'm willing to give it a shot.
Mm.
I heard about the money coming in, and I was like, no, I'm not buying it. I remember the bad experience with the one guy with the bad suit and the bad hair and the suitcase, you know, flipping open the suitcase and putting a ballpoint pen in front of me saying, sign here. I was like, I don't know if I'm that guy.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking because you were so like, for me, like watching you start this first, like you're like an amazing human, but like I was like sales, and I didn't realize it wasn't sales until we got into it. Like this is not, now I don't think of it as sales at all, but I was like, oh, sales. Like I would make fun of him with like his script like taped to his computer, and I was like, oh my God, he's so bad at this.
Awful, awful. It's so
Bad.
we signed up, or I signed up. I was the canary in the coal mine for this couple.
Mhm.
And so it was the height of COVID. We were in bad shape financially. We
Yeah.
were being threatened of eviction. We were threatened with eviction every month, and we were just barely coming up with money every month. Something would happen. I'd get another speaking gig. I'd get a couple grand for that, and then we'd pay the rent. We'd be able to stay a month longer. Lost my health insurance. I need drugs to stay alive every 12 hours. And so it got to the point where I was buying immunosuppressants immunosuppressants that keep me alive. I was buying them in handfuls because I couldn't afford the whole script in the bottle. I'm like, all right, can I just get enough for the next 3 days? And I got to find money in the next 3 days. We were buying loaves of bread and jars of peanut butter, and I was not letting Erin in on how dire the situation was, but making sure that Erin and our daughter ate first.
Mm.
And so 3 months it took in the height of COVID to get licensed. The feds lost my fingerprints twice. All right. I mean, the repo man came and took our car. It was bad. And finally got an opportunity 3 months after that to get licensed in the state of Pennsylvania. And so we did everything we could. You know, Erin was working at another place, and she would feed me money along with Uber and Lyft to buy leads. And we would scrape together money to buy leads, and I would dial 1,500 dials a week. And I did that for 3 months.
I want to zoom in on a couple things there. Just there are parallels, and your story's bringing me back. I had so many days, and you guys in my team, you all know my story. Coming back here with my back against the wall financially, if I didn't sell, we didn't eat, we didn't have a house, and there were so many days where I caught the stress and the that was on my shoulders overwhelming, and I would have to stop myself and just talk to God and just be like, today in this moment, I have everything I need. I
Mhm.
still have my house today. I can't talk for tomorrow. I can't talk for a week from now. I can't even worry about a month or a year from now. But right now, my kids are in their bed and we have a house. Okay.
Mhm.
And that was it. That was as far ahead as I had the capacity to look, was just right now we're okay. And I'm going to deal with even 5 minutes from now in 5 minutes from now, but I can't even worry about what's coming down the road because I didn't have the capacity or the stress to worry about it. I had to
Yeah.
just deal with now. And that was such a hard season, but it was real, man. And I need people to hear the freaking real. Like you're going to hear Derek and Erin, you're going to see them on stage and you're going to hear them on calls. And I need you to understand there were seasons where Derek and Erin were not Derek and Erin like you see. Like it was a struggle and it was hard and they were right where you were.
Mhm.
It was hard. All right, so you're scraping on money. And the second thing I wanted people to hear was the massive action. I've got new agents on here that keep everything on a short leash as if it's trying to prove itself, and they're doing 150 dials in a month just seeing if this works. And here you are back against the wall doing 1,500 dials a week.
Yep.
Yeah, hear that. All right, sorry, you can keep going.
No. And so I was buying 50-cent leads, and we bought 50-cent leads, making 1,500 dials a week for 3 months, the first 3 months. So now we're talking about 6 months from the time I started the application process with Symmetry. So it took 6 months before I wrote my first application.
It was
And
hard.
And you're tens of thousands of dials in.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Gosh, I need people to hear this.
Well,
Y'all are 200 dials and you haven't made 10 grand and you think the whole thing don't work.
can I add something too?
Please.
Since you brought me over here, it's not easy to think that way, to think like, okay, like when you're in it, I know what we're saying sounds impossible. Like we're in this crazy thing and we waited 3 months before we actually got even a little bit of a paycheck. But what we saw were so many people who had been here already who were so happy. And we knew they were not drinking some kind of Kool-Aid. We knew that they were just so wildly happy. And no matter what stage they were in, people would tell us like they were in our stage and they were still wildly happy. So all what we had to do is think of, all right, our worst case scenario here with everything we'd gone through is some people would dream of our worst case scenario. Like our worst case scenario was we did have our car repossessed. Then we were like, we might have to move in with my brother and we might have to like literally start over. And if that's our worst case scenario, to be able to live a dream, like, you know how many people wish they had a brother to move in with, wish that they had the, like had public transportation they could take if they lost their car. Like we had to kind of like look at it that way, that it wasn't forever. It was just, but as soon as we let go of all that and lived in that, what's our worst case scenario, we never had to get that bad.
Yep.
Man, and again, I'm going back to my story and it brings me so back. The peace I had when I finally released the house. Now we kept our house, but when I finally emotionally was like, even if we do lose the house, we're gonna figure it out. And once that pressure was off my shoulders that I'm willing to lose this house in this journey, then whew, I got to breathe a little bit. And we ended up not having to, but I had to get to a point where, look, we might lose this house. We might lose our cars. We might lose stuff to figure out, to have to rebuild. And once I got okay with that, then okay, all right, now we got something to work with.
Yeah. And that's literally the perspective that I had to learn in those 1,500 dials a week for 3 months. I was doing the best that I could, everything that I could, to sell somebody something. And then finally I gave up everything. I released all hope of an outcome. And I just started asking people, hey, you filled out a form. Is there something I can do to help? Is there anything that I might be able to do to help you? And that was the switch that flipped. And I wrote my first app, never forget this, but ultimately wrote the app. And in the meantime, I had seen people who had been doing this forever on weekly calls, on weekly huddles with our agency, who were like making 30 grand a month. I'm like, then I saw people come in after me and write 10 grand a month and then leave and quit while I was still trying to do $1,500 a week because it wasn't enough for them. And I'm still sitting around going, I gotta be some kind of moron that I can't make this work. And finally figured it out that I'm not here to sell anybody anything. I'm just trying to see if I can help the person in front of me. And I wrote that app. It was 4,600 APV. We'd had $3,000 in 50-cent leads that we'd spent. We paid those off. We got our car out of repo, I think, at that point. We put money in to keep us from getting evicted. And then we went to dollar leads.
Yeah, big time.
Oh yeah. But that was a huge, it was risky.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at that point, we consistently went from $10,000 to $20,000 a month in AP. And so we did that. And that was 2022, right, babe? That was our first 2021. We came in at the tail end. Then 2022 was our first year, first full year.
And then we ruined everything.
And we ruined everything. We ruined it.
Just for like a month.
we went to conference in 2022 and I saw Jeremy Miner as the keynote. And then we learned all about advanced markets. And I was like,
All at one time.
huh,
Mhm.
this feels like home to me.
Mm-hmm.
I've been talking to so many people in mortgage protection and general life, and I feel like I keep trying to fit square pegs into round holes. Maybe there's something here. I spent, that was, I guess, September, all of October. I would try to sell mortgage protection and general life through the day, and then I stayed up all night every night, learning everything in the LMS about advanced markets, every advanced market product, and NEPQ.
Yep.
And I went from $10,000 to $20,000 a month to $2,500 in that month. I'm not afraid to burn it down.
Yeah.
Our upline, for all very good reasons, thought that we were absolutely insane. Thought that we were throwing our careers down the drain. What are you doing? Was the question that we got. And we're like, oh, okay, we must be on the right track. All right, because everybody is just losing their stuff. All right. And we're like, all right, I feel that there's something here. So came out of October with 2,500 in AP to show. And I was exhausted, like literally studying overnights while working during the day, not working well during the day. Came out of that and wrote 105 and 110 in November and December of 2022. So literally went from 2,500 to 115,000 over the course of basically a month. I thought maybe we're on to something.
So the advanced markets, NEPQ, deep dive into taking ownership of your skill set and studying, staying up nights, working full time during the day, making the dials. I'm curious, in the season before the light bulb went on, when you're watching people come and go, watching people that are having more success than you quitting, and you're having that, I must be some kind of moron. How did you find the grit to stay in the game and keep showing up with an attitude of great expectation when you kind of had no evidence to show up with an attitude of expectation because you hadn't really done anything? How did you get yourself to show up that way so well and so consistently?
Belief,
In
belief, belief in myself, belief in the company, belief in Aaron, belief in our capabilities as a team. I spent a good 7 years when I was in the end throes of heart failure, not knowing every time I closed my eyes to go to sleep, I didn't know if I was going to open them again. For 7 years, I did that, and every morning I would wake up, my eyes would open, and I'd be like, I guess I'm still here. I still have a fighting shot, so I'll be grateful for that. And the same kind of principles applied in endurance sports. You know, uh, racing for 140.6 miles is a game of inches, right? I'm going to go until I see that stop sign. I'm going to go until I see that mailbox. I'm going to go until I get over this hill. And then I'm going to go until I see that stop sign. And then I'm going to go until I see that mailbox. And I just keep saying that to myself over and over and over and stay consistent and keep showing up. I went from over 200 pounds leading into transplant down to 128 pounds, back up to 175 pounds in the course of that, skin and bone to athletic. I'll put it that way. And I did that by staying consistent. I did that because I never saw results in one effort. I saw that over time, if I stayed the course, if I just kept doing what I was doing and getting that much better than the day I was than where I was the day before, that all of that would add up to something that would ultimately reveal itself as a reward. And I saw people being rewarded here.
mm,
And I thought, you know what? If they can do it, there's no reason I can't. There's no reason with Aaron here and me here, there's no reason that the two of us can't.
we have a lot of new people We've got a lot of people struggling through the learning curve, and even those through the learning curve struggling with profitability, where, they no longer struggle with the script. They've got it, they've made some sales, but they're just, and I'd love to hear from each of you just a different perspective on how would you coach or encourage the person that's just kind of, they're in the grind and they're not seeing the result yet. I don't mind who goes first, but I'd love to hear from each of you on how you'd answer that or talk to that person.
Ladies first.
Thanks. It's a good question. I think it depends on who I'm talking to, but if I had to just kind of, be open to whoever I'm talking to, I'd probably ask them first, what are the things they struggle with the most here? Because usually there's something there. What do they think they can do? Because ultimately there's something they're missing. Like, some of it's timing, but really it's not timing. Like, you can make a decision. Like, you can decide tomorrow, like if you're like, can't pay my mortgage and I need to make money this week to pay my mortgage. Like, you can make a decision tomorrow, and you can buy leads, you can go out on, you can pound the pavement and go talk to people, you can make phone calls. There is no reason why you can't make that money tomorrow. So what is it that you're afraid to do? Right? There's something that you're afraid to do.
Afraid to spend money on leads, afraid to go talk to people, afraid to pick up the phone, afraid to make sacrifices.
Afraid that coming out and not knowing what to say, and I all of those things. And I think then we talk about, the next question is, what's harder for you? Then the question would be, what's harder for you? Is it harder for you to go do that thing you're afraid of? Or is it going to be harder to not pay a mortgage and to have to go find a job and maybe lose your home? Which one's harder for you? And I know that probably sounds easy to say that now, but you have to remember, we literally went through this. Like, we had to make those choices. And we are not very employable. Like, it sucks to work for other people. For us, even more than I think most people. And so for us, the thought of having to, after owning businesses, to have to work for someone else, like, there was just no way. So yeah, we had to do it. So I think I would start with what is it you're afraid of, and why do you think that is?
No, that's really, really good. I'm a big fan of Gary Keller's book, The One Thing. And I think so often there is that one thing, if we just unlock that door, hit that domino, that the rest starts falling into place. And I think when you're new and you're struggling, so much of that one thing is a fear. It's a fear of failure, a fear of success, a fear of sacrifice, a fear of, if I do this and it doesn't work out, the loss aversion, more afraid of what I could potentially lose than excited about what I might gain. I think so often in those early stages, that fear governs your business and holds you back from so much. Yeah, that was really good. Derek, what do you want to add that can to people?
I had a conversation with an agent the other day, and I took this for granted because I've owned my own companies since I was in my mid-20s. I really haven't had any extended period of time of working for other people, and I've had massive success. But I've still, every company that I've ever owned and I've ever been in has had that period where, like, me and the other owners of the company have sat in a closed door room saying, the check didn't come in from the client. We're not going to be able to make payroll unless we sell something right now. And I think that so many people come in from a W-2 mentality of like getting a paycheck every other week, and that's just the way it is, that when things go south, they're just like, well, it must not work. I'm not doing it right. But every business that I've ever owned has had that moment, and not just one, multiple moments. And then I don't have a person that I'm looking for to give me something. I'm looking to myself and saying, what am I going to do to write business right now so I can make payroll? Because people are counting on me. And in this business, that person's Erin, that person's my daughter. Do I want to tell Erin, or do I want to tell our 11-year-old, that she can't go to summer camp because daddy was afraid to make a phone call. That hits me in the gut. Do I want to admit to myself that I cannot buy Christmas presents because somebody yelled at daddy and he felt bad and he didn't want to pick up the phone again, or he wasn't willing to do everything in his power. And I can't talk about myself in the third person here for much longer, but I have to do everything in my power to provide for my family. So there's nobody coming to save me. What am I going to do? And thankfully, I mean, even recently, I've realized that I'm not alone in this, and I've got a partner in this, and she's just as capable and just as willing to pick up whatever it needs to be picked up and beat down doors with me to figure out what is that thing that's going to get us over this next hump. There's always a hump.
Mm.
What are we going to do to get over it? And that's a great feeling for me, a great sense of relief, because I know I can lean on Erin, and I know she's like the most competent, capable person I've ever met.
Yes, he doesn't really need to, though. I don't know if you noticed, he's pretty like kind of solid on his own.
But thank
I
you.
appreciate that, though.
Okay. But it's really, nobody get out of the W-2 mindset that someone's going to pay you a paycheck. The buck literally stops with you. And if you're not going to do what it takes, then get out.
Mm.
As Danny Young says, target's hiring.
Yeah. Gosh, it's that extreme ownership mentality, that entrepreneurial mentality. And again, I just talked to my new agents, like for so many people, this is your first foray into professional independence. And you don't like the micromanaging of a boss and a schedule and all those things. But then when you find this independence, you realize you're not very good at navigating it. And there comes a whole mind shift, Derek. You're gonna appreciate this. I saw a reel on Instagram, and this guy's like, 9 to 5 people don't know broke like entrepreneurs know broke. 9 to 5 people, they think broke like, oh, I'm broke. I can't buy something or pay for something until next week when the paycheck comes in. Entrepreneur broke is like, if I don't figure out something right now, I don't have any money ever again. Like the only money that ever comes in is the money I produce. And so there is no one saving me. There's no paycheck coming around the corner. This is me, and I'm going to figure it out, or I am going to, I don't know, like live in a gutter with my family. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's that mind shift is everything if you want to win in this space.
But the one thing I will not do is quit.
So let's zoom in on that for a second, because I think there are a lot of people that say, I won't quit, but yet they're also not, I don't know how to say this. They're also just not doing what it takes to win. So they live in this limbo where it's almost like, dude, do yourself a favor and quit, please. Yes. Like, go win at something. If you're not going to win here, go to Target and win there. But like, you watch people cling to something that isn't working. You watch them cling to a process and a workflow that isn't working. They're not willing to burn it down, break something, build it up. They're not willing. So like, how do you coach people that want to believe I'm not a quitter, but they're 2 years in and they haven't turned this into anything, and they're in the same spot they were when they were 2 years ago? How do you coach that person? What do you tell them?
That's a great question. I want to know how bad they want it.
Okay.
And what is the line where they quit? And I'll just ask them, is this where you quit? You told me you wanted this. But you should have told me you wanted this, but not if I have to do this. I would do anything for love, but I won't do that, right? What is the line? What is the line that makes you quit? I have been beat up. I've been broken. I've had surgeries that are the equivalent of being hit by a Mack truck, and I brought myself back, and I've with the help of others, and I've done some pretty amazing things. I have full belief in myself and the people around me. I don't know. I don't know this quit word. I I don't understand. Um, Real quick, I gave a speech at a transplant a camp for kids who either had pulmonary hypertension or had heart transplants, ages 4 to high school, and all of them had just lived this way. They all had helicopter parents, and this was a camp that was staffed by Johns Hopkins and Penn Medicine's transplant team. These kids had never had a camp experience. And so I was like their older uncle coming in and telling them about this heart transplant recipient who finished this Ironman triathlon. And so we sat around this fire, and I told the story of how I finished my first Ironman in Lake Placid, New York. And this girl raises her hand and she says, "Well, how do you go on?" And I said, "I'm like in an Ironman?" She said, "No, how do you go on in life?" And the beautiful little girl, purple, she had a dysplasia where she had pulmonary hypertension, all of her organs were shifted and reversed inside, oxygen, and I knew what she was asking was like too much for me to think of. And I looked, and every other kid's eyes were on me. And I looked at all of the camp counselors of Johns Hopkins and Penn. They all just kind of went. I was like, all right, well, here's the deal. We all know way too well, far too well, how short and fragile life is. But let's just say that you got a crystal ball tomorrow, and you shake up this crystal ball and you can look inside and it tells you that you're going to die tomorrow. And so what are you going to do? And I asked this little girl, I said, what are you going to do? Are you going to run up to your room, close all the blinds, pull the sheets up to your neck, turn off all the lights, and weep uncontrollably for the final few hours of your life? Or are you going to get up, wipe the tears away, and go do everything in the remaining few hours of your life that you never got a chance to do up until now? I said, you're here. You're at a summer camp. You're rock climbing, you're zip lining, you're laughing with your friends, you're in bunk beds. I don't think that's you. I think you're the type that's going to go out and do everything that makes life worth living. And then the next morning, for some reason, for some unknown reason, you open your eyes and you wake up again and you realize that the crystal ball was wrong. And so what do? You do the same thing again. You go and live that life and that day with doing all the things in your life that you never got to do up until that moment. And you put your head on your pillow that night and you say, you know what? I'm okay. I'm okay with this. And for some reason, you wake up the next day and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you keep doing it until they stop letting you do it. And when you do that long enough, you build an amazing life.
Mm.
That's how you live an amazing life. That's how you win in this business. You're going to do it until someone pulls you away and says you can't do it anymore. Because there's no other place out there that is better than what we got right here. So you claw and you scratch and you keep pushing forward. And sometimes you gain by miles and sometimes you gain by inches and sometimes you get pushed back a little bit, and that's okay too. Because you get up, you don't look at the successes that you had when you were 18, you look at where you were yesterday and you try to get that much better. That's how you win.
Man. Man. That's everything. That's good. We got this comments are blowing up. People are digesting that. It's powerful. What are you guys? This will be kind of our last question. We're coming up on conference, and those of you that put ones in the comments and you're absolutely coming to conference, you now have friends in the Fitzgeralds. Say hi to them, meet them, get a selfie with them. What are you guys excited for this year at conference? And this will kind of be our closing question. We're out of time anyway, and I really appreciate you guys, but I'd love to hear from you on that.
Every time we go to one of these things, when we come out, like our business pretty much doubles, and I mean, that's fun. Yeah, that's awesome. But I'm excited for our team to have that same, opportunity to just experience that. And it's, yeah, I mean, you guys, it's not just about your business doubling. I mean, it literally could double. If you do everything right, your business will double coming out of conference. But I mean, we are better people in this business. I mean, you can where else can you go where you go to a trip and you come back a better person? Excited to see our team experience that.
That's been my favorite thing in Symmetry, truthfully. Like, the people I meet are just good people. There's nobody in leadership in this company that was given leadership. They had to earn it. They had to scratch and claw and fight. They had to do the hard things, and that stuff humbles you. And then you get to a place in leadership and you're wise and you're humble. And that's what I see over and over. Like, I didn't get to leadership until I learned how to be wise and humble. And so you see that everywhere you look here, and it's really, really great. It's a great point. Derek, what are you excited about?
You touched on it earlier, Jim. It's no longer about us. It's about seeing the fire, take hold in people that we're kind of pouring into on our team, and seeing that spark and seeing them get as excited about this as we are, and them seeing the possibility, just what's possible here. That's the best thing. It's the coolest feeling in the world.
So good. Guys, in the comments, I want you to leave something in here for Derek and Aaron, and they gave us an hour of their night. You guys already know we're in an hour, so this is a highly valuable session. I need him to recognize that you're going to honor the gift that he gave you in the time. And here's how you honor that. You don't clap good speech. He's paid to speak. He knows he's going to speak good. That's not what he comes here to do. He comes here to know that 6 months from now, your business looks different because of something you took away here. Erin shows up for this because she wants to know a year down the road, your family is in a different position because you grabbed something from this. That's how you honor them. So I want to know what you're going to take away and what you're going to implement because of the hour that they gave us. That's how they leave impact. That's why they're willing to give their time. Man, you guys are so great. The night I met you at that Baltimore boot camp, I'm like, I need my whole team to know these people. I need to know these people. I need them in my sphere. I need to be around them. I feel like I'm an amateur at life when I'm around you guys. It's kind of a cool feeling for me. But
Bizarro land. Here's another cool moment, guys, for those of you who haven't had this moment. It's a really weird, bizarre moment when someone you look up to says these things to you.
Truly.
Like, such a weird moment, but yeah, thank you.
For sure. I'm grateful for you guys. I really am. I'm so excited that we get to do this thing together. You make this company better. That we can build something together that we can all be really, really proud of. And it's so great. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your friendship.
Thank you.
And
Likewise.
we'll see y'all soon.
Thanks,
Bye, guys.
Good night, all.